All right, welcome back and bear down. As promised, we are going to get away from the wide receiver conversation for just a minute. We're going to go back to the other most important decision we have, and that is a quarterback. And right now, everything points to Justin Fields being the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Even in the press conference, the end of year press conference that Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, and Matt Eberflus had, they alluded that Justin Fields will continue to get better as the Bears get better, that they're going to build around him. They didn't use those exact words, that they're going to build around him, but they did use the exact words that he will get better as the team gets better. They are very much alluding that they want Justin Fields to be the quarterback of the team. They said they were very impressed with his progress, that they felt he has a maturity, and that he continues to grow. Those things are all things that point to us keeping Justin Fields. Ryan Poles also said, though, that they'd have to be blown away by the number one pick to trade it, and that they're going to analyze that up until April, that they're not going to trade this away early, that they're going to use every resource to analyze it. That's the smart thing to do. They really do need to go to the Combine, go to the Senior Bowl, go to all these pre-draft things and make sure they have the quarterback they want. But Justin Fields has shown that maturity. He's shown the poise and professionalism. He's taken all the adversity, even from our media, from our fan base. Even when the whole Tyson Bagent thing happened and they were questioning whether Justin Fields was even the best quarterback on the team, he's taking that with grace and he's shown that he's a true leader. The entire locker room has his back. He is a leader of this team. He's the first one in and the last one out, and he continues to improve and progress every single day. So what I wanted to do here was compare him to the main four quarterbacks coming out in this draft and say, okay, if we're going to keep that pick, if we're going to essentially compare Justin Fields to that pick, and I understand the whole logic behind resetting the clock financially, the Bears aren't in a tough financial position. The Bears are in a position where they need the draft capital to get the right pieces to fit around the team. They have $60 million in cap space, plus an additional 23 most likely coming from Cody Whitehair and Eddie Jackson being cut. So the Bears are sitting on tons of cap space. And if they utilize that correctly, they have tons of cap space moving forward to the future too. So this isn't a team in destitution or in a complex situation where we have to start restructuring contracts and making tough decisions to sign the quarterback of the future long term. Justin Fields is in year 4. We haven't even decided on the 5th-year option, which they've also said they're going to take their time to decide on. And if they do, it's only $22 million. So even if they extend him long-term in a couple of years from now, we're in a prime position to do that. So we're okay. We're not in the financial cap space hell that other teams are in. Essentially, we're in a position to have to decide, is Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels worth 3 picks plus Justin Fields? Because if we trade down, we're going to get a haul for that pick. So the reality of the situation is Justin Fields is worth the situation at hand plus additional draft capital, which the Bears need. So the picture here is the exact same picture I used for a different video. I did that so you guys could reference and go back if you want to a weird analytical approach I took to comparing him against Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Drake May. It's worth looking at if you want to go back and find that video in my collection that has the exact same picture. Different writing, though. But I did this so you can go back and look at that same one. So let's compare them. We're going to go through a little quicker. Here's Justin Fields, 6'3", runs a 4.45 40. I'm not even going to use that in my analysis. The weight's 228. He had an overall rating when he came out in the draft of 92.1. All of his metrics looked super good. If you don't remember when he was coming out, let me go back there real quick, sorry. If you don't remember when he was coming out, he was and I'm using air quotes without you seeing me, generational talent. Justin Fields was considered elite. He was considered right up there neck and neck with Trevor Lawrence, and that people were going to have to decide. In fact, going up to the draft until Zach Wilson threw one pass at his pro day that is going to be in infamy as for the pass that changed someone's whole trajectory. He was considered neck and neck with Trevor Lawrence to be in the top 2. Nobody considered Justin Fields to be drafted number 1. That wasn't going to happen. It was always going to be Trevor Lawrence, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But he was always considered a top 2, and most thought he would go 2 or 3. And even if you go on Draft Buzz, their thing that's still described says that most likely the 49ers are going to pick him at 3. That was, and they said specifically that he wasn't comparable at all to Trey Lance. The Trey Lance wasn't even in the same league, that there was a huge drop-off after Justin Fields. So it's funny that that worked out the way it did, and they ended up they ended up getting Trey Lance. So anyways, there's Justin Fields. His passing was elite in college. I don't know what anybody's talking about if they say anything otherwise. Release speed was a concern, and it still has eventuated a little bit in the pros. That's something he continues to work on. His rush and scramble wasn't top tier. It has changed in the NFL. If you gave him a grade now, he would literally get a 98 to 100 on his rush and scramble. Okay, we're going to move on now to Caleb Williams, 6'1", and I'm going to point out that's being scrutinized just like Bryce Young was. Bryce Young was listed at 5'11". He's really 5'9". Caleb Williams, his height is 6'1". Most say he really is 6 foot tall even. All right, he still plays elite, so it's not something that's really hampered him. Same thing was said about Bryce Young. He played elite. Okay, weight 215, little small. He's rated at 93.5 mostly because of his 2022 season where he played out of his mind. He won the Heisman. Caleb Williams balled out. This year wasn't quite as spectacular. There's so many things that are scrutinized, including his maturity, how he didn't really defend his team, how he didn't play elite against high-caliber talent, ranked teams. You can go look all those things up. So anytime there's scrutiny, this is going to come into the draft process, and you're going to hear those things as it comes along, but you're also going to hear the elite about him. So you can see his comparables. He's not even stacking up close. If you just look without the overall rating, he's not even in the same league as Justin Fields. Now, you can pick apart what I'm saying, but the reality is if you look at it, is he really worth giving away 3 first-round picks and Justin Fields for him? You make the decision. I've already made my points. You can hang on to that. You can see he's not in any area more elite than Justin Fields. Not one. Not a single one. All right, so let's move on. We're going to move on now to Drake May. Drake May is, by every metric, an NFL quarterback. 6'4", 230 pounds. Release speed is solid, short passing, medium passing, long passing. He's all around good. Rush and scrambles, decent. Not really his forte, but solid NFL quarterback. If you want to look at some of the pros and cons they put about these guys, go on to Draft Buzz. It's a really good place to read basically a dummied down scouting report. Jaden Daniels, 6'4", 210. His big scrutiny is he is a little light, but everything about him is on the rise. Jaden Daniels is improving on boards across nonstop. He's going up and up and up. Release speed is good. Passing is solid. His rush and scramble is elite. He is being considered more and more, but his big knock is that he's skinny. He's little. All right, Michael Penix Jr., same thing. His weight's a little scrutinized. If you saw him in the national championship game, he got knocked around a little bit, and he was struggling with his ribs a little bit. But he is 6'3". His release speed is solid. His passing is solid. Rush and scramble is suspect, but that's not really what he's known for. He is a pocket passing NFL quarterback. All right, so I don't want to spend forever on that. I've done that on my other video. We're going to go to comparing these 5 guys. Okay, so there's their DB rating, stands for Draft Buzz rating. Here's their Draft Buzz rating. And Draft Buzz just kind of compiles a consensus of different places that are mocking or giving their rankings. It's not an end-all, be-all. It's just kind of a starting point if you want to do some of this analysis type of stuff. You look at their height. Caleb Williams is clearly the deficit there. You look at their weight. Really, Justin Fields and Drake May are the only 2 that are really built like NFL quarterbacks. Release speed, Justin Fields does have the knock there. And I'm not going to profess that has profusely changed. But if you look at the second half of the season, it's changing. He's still got a deficit there, but I'm going to show some things here at the end that help to understand a little bit, but he is progressing. His passing grade is the most elite out of everyone coming out of college. And his Russian scramble drill, or his Russian scramble grade, I gave an asterisk there because he has improved significantly, but that's not to say none of these other guys could turn into Justin Fields. Maybe Caleb Williams will be the next Justin Fields and scramble for 1,200 yards when he gets drafted to a team that doesn't have a line like Justin Fields has. So anyways, there's just a side-by-side. You can make your comparisons. You already know my stance, so I'm not going to drag that out. But this gives you a way to compare these 5 guys side by side. The other thing I want to point, I'm going to make one more point here. And this is comparing Justin Fields to the other quarterbacks in the NFC North. I've had a lot of people, mostly Packers fans, but some Bears fans, talk about how Jordan Love has arrived, and Jordan Love is this, and Jordan Love is that. I didn't put the Vikings up there because Kirk Cousins didn't get even that much of a season, and then you had Josh Dobbs, and you had a whole mess there with the BYU quarterback Jaron Hall. So here's the comparison of these 5 guys, and I did put a full season of Justin Fields. If you just take the same stats he had and take it over the full season and taking his injury out, he would have been passing for about 3,219 yards. So these people say he can't even pass for 2,000 yards, whatever. And he uses his legs. That's not the point of this. But look at the poor pass percentage. Of their passing attempts, here's the poor passing percentage. Justin Fields is more on Jared Goff's level than Jordan Love. Jordan Love has one of the worst poor pass percentages in the NFL. The only one that was worse was Bryce Young. Jordan Love throws consistently 5 yards over and under his receivers. The difference was he has one of the most elite lines, and his play caller, the Packers are really, really solid on offense. They make plays happen. They get players open. They have one of the highest rated open receivers in the NFL. So he gets these guys that are wide open, and he still overthrows them. And if you watch his games, I'm not going to make this a complete Jordan Love bash video, but let's stop with the hype when it's not necessarily due. The hurried percentage is the other thing. How often is the quarterback hurried? Jared Goff, 6.6%. This has specifically to do with their line. Jordan Love, 8.6%. Justin Fields is hurried. This is before he's standing in the pocket forever. This is all of them considered the same amount of time. He's hurried 11.8% of plays. That's 1 out of every 9. 1 out of every 9. The NFC North offensive line rankings, the Lions are consensus between 2 and 4. The Vikings consensus between 4 and 7. The Packers consensus between 5 and 9. The Bears were near last in the league the last couple of years. So the first 2 years that Justin Fields had a chance to play quarterback, he was constantly fighting with the worst line in the league. It's improved a little bit this year, but by every metric, it's still near the bottom of the league. He's 23rd to 27th. Do we need work on that line? Absolutely. And there's going to be some emphasis. Ryan Poles still has his work cut out, but he said this is not a 1-year rebuild. Our fans get very impatient, and I completely understand that. We get impatient as fans. We want our team to get back to greatness. We don't want to be stuck in the gutter like the Lions have been for 30 years, or the Browns got stuck in, or teams get stuck in that rut. We don't want to be in that. That's why I'm so glad that we hired Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles is the right man for this job, and he's already turning it around. This year was evidence of that. We're making a Lions type of turn after a very short stint of being completely destitute after what Ryan Pace left us. We had horrible contracts, we had no cap space, and we had no draft capital. He was constantly trading away our picks for the now, and we weren't receiving the now results. The Bears have the cap space and the draft capital to continue to do things special because of what Ryan Poles has done for us. Okay, getting a little off topic here. So, what I just want to show by this is Justin Fields has been handicapped. People say that's an excuse. It's not an excuse, it's reality, and he doesn't piss and moan about it. He goes to work. He's first one in, last one out. His tight window throwing is one of the tightest in the NFL. He throws balls in. I need to find a graph on that. I've seen it before on one of the sites I was looking at. He's very top in the entire league of putting the ball in on a dime to receivers. He doesn't make as many bad throws as other guys. He does have, when you get outside of DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, he has one of the highest drop percentages in the NFL, which is ridiculous. But, and you saw it eventually. You saw a game was cost because Darnell Mooney didn't hang on to it. Velus Jones in the end zone had a wide open throw that he was on his back and he dropped it. I mean, every team has those things happen, though. But Justin Fields isn't this horrible quarterback that you hear the narratives continue to spin off about. He is an elite quarterback, and there's so many things to point to that. Once we get the line fixed, if we had the line of the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, if we had that same line and we had weapons to go with it, if we had the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s and the DJ Moore and the Cole Kmet, this team would absolutely be a Super Bowl contending team. What we have right now is an opportunity with a 1st and 9th overall pick. With that draft capital, that's like what happened to the Niners to turn them around. They picked Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa in the draft, and it turned everything around with those 2 picks. The Bears are in prime position. I'm dragging this out, but that's what I want to get to with this. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. I really do want to hear your guys' thoughts. I like interacting with you guys. I like where things are going with this channel. I like that we can put stuff out there that is well thought out, that has a basis to it, and that can have some analysis, and I want to keep doing it. So until next time, let me know your thoughts. Let me know where your thoughts are at after watching this video, if it changed any perspective or if it helped clarify anything or if it gave you a new view. I want to hear those types of things. Until next time, thanks for checking it out, and bear down.